So lawmakers at the state capitol, they are talking about possibly legalizing sports betting. One of the concerns about making sports betting legal is whether it would fuel gambling addiction. There's a new study published in JAMA Internal Medicine last week. It highlights a sharp rise in sports betting and gambling addiction help seeking.
Yeah, so joining us now to speak more about it, Minnesota-based EOS CEO Lou Zeidner. Lou, thank you so much for joining us. We should also mention EOS is formerly Meridian Behavioral Health.
Right.
Thanks.
This is an interesting topic because we were just talking about it. Have we just not paid attention to this? Has this been around for a while?
I think it's been around for a while. Addictions tend to cluster, and so people with chemical dependency also tend to have a propensity to gambling problems, other things.
Dr. Zeidner, how do you see, because you've run many of these programs in talking about addiction and mental health, how does sports gambling addiction affect our mental health?
So about 1 in 7 people who do gambling, whether it be sports or other, develop a problem with gambling. So that gives you a sense of—
That's a lot.
A lot. And for adolescents, I'll mention that's about 7 times that rate. So that's a real risk factor there as well. About 94% of people who have problems with gambling also have other mental health disorders, whether that be depression or anxiety or other problems. And some of them are a result of the gambling. You lose money,
Right.
you have more challenges in your life, you disappoint people, other things, and some of it is just a part of the brain functioning.
So then the effects on the brain, if we're talking about gambling addiction, are they similar to maybe a chemical dependence and an addiction, or are they different?
No, they're very similar.
Really?
Are they?
So there's a chemical in the brain called dopamine, and that's what gets stimulated when we have joy in our lives, when something is happy.
Right.
And we seek that. Some people seek it more than others, but we all seek it. And so when we use gambling or we use other drugs, it will stimulate our dopamine, and so the brain produces more. Over time, the body compensates for that and starts to develop less dopamine naturally and reduce the receptors in the brain. As a result of that, we need more, and so oftentimes people talk about tolerance. Part of tolerance is about we seek more of it because the brain starts to produce less of it.
If you have one addiction, are you more likely to have another addiction? So let's say you have an alcohol addiction. Are you more likely to have a gambling addiction?
Very much so.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
they tend
Is it
to work
genetic?
Well, there is a genetic component. We don't fully understand the genetics, but we do see it running in families. And about 50% is a function of genetics, and about 50% is a function of environment.
Well, this might be a tough question to answer, but when do you know that you would need help?
You know, I think to begin with, when you start to hide your gambling, when you start to feel a compulsion to gamble, to chase your losses, when you start to use monies that you would otherwise use for critical parts of your life, all of those things tend to be symptoms.
Yeah.
And Dr. Zeidner, what do you recommend, if you start seeing some of those, do you recommend you just, at the first step, to go see someone?
I think getting an assessment, understanding it, finding ways to compensate for it before it becomes a major problem in your life.
All right. Well, CEO Dr. Lou Zeidner of EOSIS, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.